Incredible snowstorm rescue, millionaire discovers life-changing gifts from twins he saved. Jack Spencer, a name that glittered with success in Chicago's elite circles, had a distance in his eyes that no amount of wealth could fill. After a high-profile charity gala, where he touted the importance of giving back, Jack was now ensnared in a blinding snowstorm, turning the small rural town he was passing through into a frozen ghost town. The wind howled outside his luxury SUV, rattling the windows as he fought to see through the swirling white haze. Memories crept in, tugging at his heart, reminding him of simpler days in his modest childhood home where dreams felt almost tangible. Suddenly, his brooding thoughts were shattered. He noticed two young twins, Mia and Leo, waving their arms frantically beside an abandoned school bus. Panic shot through him. These kids were stranded in this bitter cold. His heart raced as nostalgia enveloped him. He remembered the warmth of community back in a time when life wasn't about profit margins but about helping one another. A warmth that he had long since forgotten. Pulling himself from the confines of modern luxury, he leaped into the storm. Each snowflake felt like a small needle against his face, but as he approached the twins, their wide smiles lit up his icy heart. Together, they huddled against the cold, their tiny bodies trembling. Jack looked into their eager eyes. Mia's voice broke through the howling winds, "I want to be a teacher and help kids learn." Leo chimed in, "I want to be an engineer, so I can build things for our town." Their dreams stirred something deep within Jack. He remembered the struggles of his own youth, the pressure of making something of himself, of escaping the financial burdens that weighed on his family. Each word they spoke revealed their challenges, debt looming like a dark cloud, an uncertain future staring back at them. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. As the storm finally began to relent, Jack found himself drawn deeper into their world. He realized kindness could transcend wealth, and in their laughter, he felt a flicker of hope, the kind that had been buried under his driven facade. But the comfort of his old life began to clash with this new sense of purpose. Back in Chicago, among well-heeled friends, Jack faced their sharp skepticism about a community project his newfound friends desperately needed support for. To his elitist peers, the twins' mother fighting tooth and nail against systemic injustices was just an idealist, yet, as Jack sat in the warm glow of his SUV, the twins' aspirations echoed in his mind, disassembling his ingrained beliefs. He felt the stirrings of a significant shift within him. What would he sacrifice for a community that felt this real, this alive? As he prepared to attend the town's upcoming meeting, where the twins' mother would plead for essential resources, he felt the weight of his decision pressing down on him like the storm from earlier. Torn between loyalty to an affluent life and the burgeoning sense of duty ignited by two innocent hearts, Jack stood on the precipice of profound change. Would he summon the courage to step into a world he'd long left behind, or retreat into the safety of privilege? The answer would redefine his notion of success forever. The storm had ceased, but the weight of Jack's decision felt heavier than ever. Each snowflake that had once danced around him now lay like a reminder of the choice he grappled with. Mia and Leo were safe now, tucked in the warmth of his vehicle, but what came next stirred an unsettling restlessness in his chest. As Jack drove into town, the streets were lined with snowdrifts that hinted at the chaos of the past hours. Yet, beneath the thick blanket of white, life was stirring. He spotted neighbors emerging, shovels in hand, ready to clear paths and check on each other. This was a community pulled together by shared struggle, a stark contrast to the isolated existence he'd known back in the city. Pulling up to the community center where the meeting would take place, Jack hesitated. Voices echoed from inside, a mixture of hope and despair mingling in the air. The walls, chipped but sturdy, represented resilience and togetherness to him. But what did he know about either? He stepped inside, feeling a spell of warmth wash over him. The smell of coffee filled the air, mingling with the sweet scent of something baking. A group of local families were gathered, their expressions flickering between determination and worry. Mia and Leo scampered ahead, their laughter breaking the tension, drawing everyone's attention. The twins' mother, Tessa, stood at the front, looking visibly shaken but ready to address the crowd. She had a spirit that radiated strength, but Jack could see the concern etched on her face as she glanced at the crowd then back at the twins. Mia and Leo's eyes shone with potential, mirroring the very hopes and dreams Jack had buried under his ambition. "Tessa," someone called, interrupting her thoughts. "We need funding for supplies fast. Otherwise, the school's going to shut down." The voice carried a challenge, echoing Jack's own fears. Jack felt like an intruder, a wolf among the sheep. He wasn't made for this. But as he watched Tessa take a deep breath, she straightened her back and started to speak, her passion igniting the room. She shared stories of students who had turned their lives around, of hardships they endured but overcame with the help of each other and community resources. Listening, Jack's heart raced. Her words were a drumbeat, loud and clear, pushing away his doubts. Here was a woman who had almost nothing yet possessed everything that mattered. She wanted to give her kids and the other children in the community a fighting chance. A spark ignited within him, urging him to stand up and speak. Suddenly, the room fell silent as he caught the gaze of Leo, who looked up at him with admiration. Jack swallowed hard, feeling the weight of many eyes turning toward him. The question, which he could no longer ignore, burned deep inside. Was he ready to offer everything he had for the community that needed him just as much as he needed them? "Maybe," Jack began, his voice trembling slightly, "I can help." The murmurs rippling through the crowd felt like a tide, lifting his uncertain spirit. In that moment, he understood that true success wasn't just about wealth. It was measured by the lives you touched and the love you gave back. As the room buzzed with responses, hope sparked in Jack's heart. But then he remembered the elites waiting back in Chicago, their faces filled with contempt at the idea of investing in less fortunate communities. What would he sacrifice for this new life? Jack took another breath. He hadn't yet realized the full extent of the struggle he was about to take on, and as he prepared to face the crowd, he understood that his decision would echo far beyond that room. Then, as someone shouted his name in encouragement, a heavy storm of laughter erupted around him, and Jack felt the gravity of his choice. What he didn't know was how deeply intertwined his future with this community truly was. But one thing was clear: he had opened the door to a new world, one where he could redefine everything he thought he knew. Could he leave his privileged life behind for a deeper purpose? Or would the seductive pull of wealth and status still have its hold on him? Jack stood at the edge of the crowd, suddenly overwhelmed by a wave of doubt. Yes, he had spoken up, but now he felt more like a fraud than a hero. The warmth of the room was bright, but it surrounded him with an urgency that pressed into his chest. He could see the eager faces in the crowd, everyone leaning in, waiting for more from him, and he knew he was unprepared for this responsibility. Tessa smiled, her eyes shining with hope as she gestured for him to continue. "Jack, what can you bring? We need vision and support. Everyone here feels that spark you've ignited." Her words lingered, echoing in his mind. He looked around the room and saw parents who had worked tirelessly just to keep their children in school, neighbors who banded together to share resources, and children who simply wanted to learn. Did he have the vision? Could he help them? I want to help." Jack stuttered, but the words felt heavy on his tongue. "I need to assess the needs, the supplies, the funding." A voice from the back cut through the haze. "We don't have time for that. We need action now." It was an older man, his face lined with worry. "We face cuts every single budget season. If you care, prove it." Jack glanced toward Tessa, who nodded in agreement. Now wasn't the time for hesitation. It was time to act, to show that he could offer more than idle promises. "Okay," he said, his voice steadier now. "I'll set up a fundraising campaign. I'll reach out to my connections. Together, we can gather support from people who care." The buzz in the room grew louder, a wave of excitement washing over the crowd. They began to discuss ideas, exchanging words about community events, bake sales, and online campaigns. Jack felt the sense of purpose swelling within him, the momentum driving them forward. He was no longer just an outsider. He was part of this fight. Mia and Leo danced around them, weaving in and out of conversations, their laughter punctuating the serious tones in the room. Their relentless energy was infectious, reminding Jack of why he was here. He had to be the anchor for their dreams. He had to fight for the futures these kids deserved, but doubt lurked in the back of his mind. Was this really within his power? Would he be able to walk away from the life he had known? Just as Jack regained his focus, someone approached him from behind, tapping him lightly on the shoulder. It was Tessa again. "Thank you for stepping up," she said softly, her voice filled with sincerity. "But just remember, it's not just about the money. It's about the relationships we build within this community. You'll need to take time to understand us, to let us understand you." Jack nodded, a newfound resolve settling in. He could already feel the collective heartbeat of the room, the way it thrummed with energy and hope. And he realized he would need to dive deeper, to truly invest himself. He exchanged laughter with the twins, their innocence a stark contrast to the weight of the meeting. But then, as he caught sight of Tessa's proud smile, he recognized the truth in her words. He was being called not just to give, but to learn, to connect. Suddenly, the room grew quiet again, and he could almost hear his heart pounding. "I'll do this," he promised, his voice firm. "I won't let you down." As cheers erupted from the crowd, an unexpected excitement surged through him. The warmth of unity spread, igniting a fire he scarcely recognized. But with this commitment came fear. How would he manage this dual life? As the meeting wrapped up, Jack took a deep breath. He was in a new world now, and the stakes were high. The tension dissolved momentarily into hugs and handshakes, but in the back of Jack's mind, shadows of his old life loomed. What awaited him beyond this meeting? Would he truly abandon the life he'd built for one forged in struggle and purpose? As he stepped outside, the snow crunched beneath his boots, falling softly around him like whispered challenges. There was no turning back now. What would be the first step in this journey he had begun? The chill of winter air hit Jack as he burst through the door, thoughts swirling like the snowflakes that danced around him. He stood on the sidewalk, taking a moment to catch his breath. Each puff of air felt like a rebirth, each snowflake a promise of renewal. But the weight of his decision was still there, heavy and unyielding. He glanced up the street towards the community center, where the gathering had just taken place. A place buzzing with hope. Would he really be able to lead them? He felt so out of place, an imposter in a world he had only just begun to understand. As he walked, the sound of laughter floated toward him. Mia and Leo were bundled up in their colorful coats, tossing snowballs at each other. Their smiles were infectious, and for a moment, the weight of his responsibility melted away, replaced by the simplicity of joy. Jack approached, unable to suppress his own grin as he watched them play. "Hey, you two. Save some fun for the grown-ups." Mia ducked under a pile of snow and threw another snowball expertly at Jack, hitting him right in the chest. "You're a grown-up now, aren't you? Help us make a snow fort." Her laughter rang out, so pure and filled with delight. It reminded him why he had decided to take this leap. He knelt down, brushing aside the powder to help them build the fort. As they piled up snow, Jack felt his doubts slowly dissolve into the air, replaced by a new kind of clarity. Questions filled his mind. What would a snow fort represent in their journey? A castle of dreams? A foundation of friendship? "Tessa thinks we need a community garden," Leo said as he shaped a mound of snow into a block. "She says it will teach us how to grow things." "I know how to plant tomatoes." Jack nodded with enthusiasm. "That's awesome. I think it will help everyone come together, just like this." He looked around, taking in the laughter and the building magic of their snow fort. But it'll take hard work. We'll need all hands on deck. Mia's eyes shone bright. We can do it. We believe in you, Jack. Their unwavering faith struck him like a bolt of lightning. Not just because they were kids, but because they were the voice of their community, longing for something to believe in. The seriousness of what lay ahead rushed back to him, and with it, a profound sense of purpose. I won't let you down, he murmured, looking at them as if to absorb their energy. They glanced at him with wide, hopeful eyes, and it sent a jolt through his heart. As the three of them built higher, Jack's mind raced ahead. He pictured community meetings, hands raised in enthusiasm, ideas shared. He could almost envision a garden flourishing, kids' laughter mixing with the crisp crunch of leaves in fall. He needed to rally support, talk to local businesses, encourage those who had given up to believe again, but doubt, lurking in the corners of his mind, wouldn't he let him go? How would he face others when he felt so unqualified? What if he failed the very people placing their trust in him? As day turned to dusk, the sky turned fiery orange and deep indigo. Jack stood up, brushing snow from his gloves. Let us finish this fort tomorrow. I have some ideas to make it even bigger. Mia and Leo cheered, running around in circles, giggling without any thought of tomorrow. Watching them, Jack felt a flicker of hope ignite. Perhaps their dreams could be more than just dreams. Perhaps he wasn't just stepping up for himself, but for them all. But as they headed home, something nagged at him, a voice whispering doubts. What if this newfound path led him on a journey he wasn't ready for? Little did he know, the storm was only beginning. The question loomed, would he rise to the challenge and embrace what it meant to be part of something bigger? The next morning began with a thick blanket of snow that coated everything in sight. Jack peered out the window, the world transformed into a dazzling white wonderland. Yet, the beauty of the scene offered little comfort to his restless heart. He had scarcely slept, his mind racing with thoughts of what lay ahead. He shook off the feeling, laced up his boots, and made his way to the community center. With each step, he felt determination fill him like a growing fire. The gathering yesterday had awakened something deep within him, a connection to this place and its people. This time, he would embrace it fully. As he entered the community center, warmth enveloped him, a stark contrast to the cold outside. Voices echoed off the walls, laughter mingled with the sound of footsteps. The room buzzed with activity, and Jack felt a surge of hope. People were engaged, creating plans, sharing ideas like the seedlings that would someday thrive in that community garden. "Mornin', Jack," Tessa called out, waving him over. She had a big smile and a pile of papers in her hands. "We're starting to brainstorm for the garden. Want to join us?" With a nod, Jack felt a mix of excitement and anxiety. These were the very people he had been nervous about facing. But their eagerness reminded him why he was here. As he joined the group, discussions flew around him: what to plant, how to make it accessible for everyone, the beauty of each idea sparking new interest among those gathered. Jack spoke up, suggesting that they include flowers, not just vegetables. "Colors can lift spirits, especially in a hard winter," he said, and a chorus of agreement followed. Their voices blended into a tapestry of hope, each thread representing the shared desires for growth and connection. Jack marveled at how easily they transitioned from idea to idea, all fueled by the same passion. It was contagious, but as the day wore on, doubt crept back in. What right did he have to steer this ship? He thought of Mia and Leo, of the trust they placed in him. Could he really guide them towards something great? What if his inexperience led them astray? While lost in thought, he felt a hand on his shoulder. It was Tessa. Her expression was gentle, yet firm. "You're doing great, Jack. We all see it. Just remember, it's not about having all the answers. It's about being here for each other. That's what matters." Her words settled in his chest, a small reassurance that chased away the clouds of uncertainty. With renewed focus, he dove back into the planning with fervor, determined to push through his fears and embrace this role as a leader. Suddenly, the door swung open, and a freezing gust of wind howled in. The laughter ceased as everyone turned to see Mia and Leo, cheeks flushed and grinning widely, their boots muddy from marching through snowdrifts. "Guess what? We found a big pile of snow. Can we make a slide?" Leo exclaimed, eyes twinkling with mischief. Jack laughed, feeling a sense of ease return. "Sure. But only if you help us clean up first." The room erupted with excitement, the shift in mood palpable. As the children dashed back out, a shocking realization began to settle in. The community was more than just a group of people, it was a tapestry of connections woven through shared hopes and dreams. Jack imagined the garden flourishing, blooming as brightly as the laughter swirling in the air. The thought of transforming the barren land outside into a flourishing garden was exhilarating. Yet, simultaneously, the weight of responsibility grew heavier. What if plans faltered? What if the harsh winter brought more than snow? But deeper inside him a spark flickered. He could lead them. He could put his heart into creating something more than just a garden. He could help them grow, together. Jack took a deep breath, feeling the warmth of the community settles like a cloak around him. He rushed outside to join the kids, their laughter bubbling like a fresh spring. But little did they know, a storm was brewing, one far greater than the snowflakes that danced around them. A strong wind stirred the air, hinting at challenges yet to come. Standing at the edge of the playground, there was still one question lingering in the back of his mind: could faith alone be enough to weather the storm? The snow continued to fall, thickening the air with a frozen stillness that wrapped around the community like a soft, white blanket. Jack watched Mia and Leo as they gleefully dragged branches, creating a makeshift slide, laughter punctuating the quiet world around them. It felt good to see them so happy, to see joy in what could be a bleak, endless winter. With each laugh from the kids, Jack's heart warmed a little more. He joined in, helping them pack the snow down tightly with their boots, shaping it into a slick ramp. Yet beneath this surface of cheer, a deeper sense of urgency began to stir within him, a weight he couldn't quite define. "Jack! Look!" Leo shouted, sliding down, arms flailing as he landed in a puff of snow at the bottom. Mia soon followed, her squeal of delight resonating through the chilly air. They were pure joy incarnate, and Jack couldn't help but smile in return, but just as quickly, a sharp gust blew through, cutting to the bone. He turned his face away, pulling his jacket tighter around him. In the back of his mind, he recalled Tessa's words: community was about being there, not necessarily having all the answers. What did it mean to be there? What would he need to do when challenges arose? Suddenly, the cheerful atmosphere fractured. A few older kids, their voices raised in frustration, crowded the playground entrance. "There's a big pile of snow in the parking lot. But we can't get to it." One shouted, his breath swirling in front of him like wisps of fog. Jack felt the adrenaline hit. "All right, let us help them." He turned to Mia and Leo, who looked up at him expectantly. "Come on, you two. Let us see what we can do." They rushed toward the entrance, wind biting at their cheeks. Uncertainty gnawed at Jack as they neared the parking lot. Snow, heavy and wet, was piled high, blocking the way. This could be more than a slide, Jack murmured to himself, the weight of responsibility sinking in again. "Do you think it's safe?" Mia asked, her brow furrowed. Jack paused. The parking lot had become a treacherous mountain of snow, not designed for play. But the desire to help surged in him. "We can figure this out together," he reassured her, almost to convince himself more than her. As they approached the mountain of snow, Jack saw the kid struggling at its base, struggling to climb the slippery slope. "All right, let us form a line. We'll help each other," he yelled over the wind. With a determined embrace of leadership, he guided them, creating a human ladder, bridging the gap between fear and excitement. The kids followed his lead, their laughter echoing against the cold backdrop of winter as they climbed up together. Just then, a distant rumble rattled the peaceful blanket of snow. Jack froze. The sky darkened ominously, and the wind picked up with sudden ferocity. "We need to get back," he shouted, his pulse racing. The storm had shifted, threatening to transform their fun into something much more dangerous. "What do we do?" Leo asked, fear creeping into his voice. Jack felt panic prickling at the edges of his mind. This wasn't just about a snow slide anymore, it felt bigger, more serious. The festive spirit dimmed as the sound of wind grew louder and more intimidating. "Let's get everyone back inside," Jack yelled, taking charge as he urged everyone to retreat. But reality hit him. The parking lot was vast, snow drifts and hidden dangers lurked. They needed to be quick, and he had to protect them. Heart pounding, he realized that his role was no longer simply about leading a community project. It was about keeping them safe through the storm. This was his moment. As they turned to rush back, Jack was taken aback. Standing at the edge of the parking lot, something caught his eye. What was that? It seemed out of place amid all the snow, a flash of color, maybe something bright. Before he could react, another gust of wind growled overhead, a prelude to the depth of the storm. What lay out there? And how could he navigate this growing chaos? "Jack!" Tessa's voice rang out from across the playground, urgent and sharp. He felt the pull of attention snap him back to where he was needed most. But now, with the storm closing in, would he be able to protect the ones depending on him? Jack spun around, the howling wind whipping at his coat as Tessa rushed toward him, her usual calm demeanor now replaced with urgency. She skidded to a halt, snow splattering around her boots. "We need to organize everyone. They're scattered, and I don't know if we can hold them all together," she yelled, her voice barely cutting through the howling gale. He nodded, adrenaline racing through him. "Right. Let's gather the kids to the gym. Spread the word." He scanned the playground, his heart pounding as he noted the confusion etched on some faces. Parents, lost in their own worries, were huddled in small clusters. "Follow me. Everyone back to the gym," Jack shouted, trying to sound both commanding and reassuring. He waved his arms, beckoning them to join. Mia and Leo clung to his sides, their small hands gripping his jacket. "What's happening, Jack?" Leo's eyes were wide with fear, a stark contrast to the joy they had just shared. Jack crouched to meet Leo's gaze, forcing a smile, though his heart was racing. "Just a little storm. We'll be fine as long as we stick together." It felt hollow, but he didn't want to show weakness. As they began to move, Jack glanced back over his shoulder. That flash of color lingered in his mind, drawing him into its mystery. Despite the urgency swirling around them, he resisted the temptation to veer off course. There was no time for distractions, safety first, he reminded himself. The wind shrieked louder, swirling snowflakes that stung like tiny needles against their cheeks. Each step grew heavier as the snow began to accumulate around their feet. Tessa led a small group toward the entrance of the gym, her voice cutting through the chaos. Jack kept his eyes on the children, counting them like beads on a string as they hurried forward. Mia tugged at the sleeve of his coat, her face now tinged with worry. "Are we going to be okay?" "Yes, we are," he reassured her, suppressing the rising tide of uncertainty in his own chest. They pressed on, and just when Jack thought they might make it to safety, the ground beneath them gave way with a loud whoosh. One of the older boys fell, disappearing into a sudden pit of snow that slumped under his weight. Without thinking, Jack dove in, reaching out for him. "Grab my hand." The boy's panic mirrored Jack's own growing fear, but just like that, moments felt become eternity. He pulled the boy up, their bodies slipping as they struggled through the snow, maced with cold history. A chorus of gasps erupted behind them, and Jack heard Tessa scream, "Jack!" The voices of the kids echoed in the air, a cacophony of concern. By some miracle, they landed on solid ground again, panting and wide-eyed. The boy clutched Jack's arm in a vice grip. "Thank you, I thought I was going to disappear." The panic had returned in a rush, and Jack started moving again, urging them forward towards the gym door, helping the last kid through. But before he could catch his breath, the world shifted once more. The snow seemed alive, gripping at their ankles, as though protesting their movements that he glanced back at the parking lot just in time to see a dark figure emerging through the swirling storm. It took a moment for his mind to register the colors, the familiar flash he saw earlier. It was something more than snow, an unrecognizable shape, coming toward them fast. "What is that?" Leo whispered, clutching Mia's hand tightly. Jack couldn't answer, his throat tight with confusion and a flicker of fear. As the figure drew closer, heartbeats quickened. Who was it? What were they bringing with them? Jack felt a mix of dread and curiosity swell inside him. The storm was no longer their only concern, something unexpected was closing in on them, just beyond the snow. "Stay close," Jack ordered, the urgency now palpable in his voice. He tried to maintain a protective stance, but what lay before him felt more uncertain with each passing second. Beyond the snow and the looming figure, hope hung by a thread, and he had to find a way to keep them all safe. But as that shape emerged from the haze, what he first thought was trouble began to transform into something completely unforeseen. Would it be salvation? Or something else entirely? Jack squinted through the swirling snow, the figure in the distance growing clearer with each passing second. A familiar sense of unease tightened his chest, yet curiosity edged out the fear. The figure moved with purpose, cutting through the whiteout, closer and closer, until finally, the storm unveiled a silhouette, a child. "Is that?" Tessa started, almost breathless. The apprehension in her voice caught in Jack's throat as he strained to see. "Is it a kid?" Leo added, tugging at Jack's sleeve again, his voice cracking slightly. "Yeah, I think it is." Jack's heart raced. He took a cautious step forward, instinctively wanting to protect the child from the frigid currents. But Tessa's hand gripped his arm, halting him momentarily. "Jack, wait. We don't know what is going on." But it was too late. Jack had already ventured into the falling snow, his concern for the child overriding the fear brewing in the back of his mind. As he drew closer, he could see the child's features, a girl, her face smudged with dirt and snow, but her eyes radiant, almost reflecting the swirling chaos. "Hey! Are you okay?" Jack called out, trying to sound more confident than he felt. The girl staggered to a stop, catching her breath, her cheeks flushed with cold. "I'm fine. But my brother. He's lost." Panic splintered Jack's heart. "Lost? Where?" "Back there." He couldn't keep up. "The wind, it's too strong." Jack's stomach dropped. A sibling lost in a storm like this. He scanned the snow-covered surroundings. "Okay, stay right here." "Tessa." Tessa stepped forward, her expression grim but fierce. "I'll stay with her. You go find him." Jack nodded, turning to face the howling chaos once more. The wind whipped at him, trying to dissuade him from taking another step. He steeled himself, moving away from the girl while keeping an eye on her as Tessa squatted down beside her, whispering gently. "Please," he thought, and breathed out, "don't be too far." He pushed against the snow, calling out as he moved further from safety. "Hey! Where are you?" His voice echoed through the storm, swallowed by the gale. The wind howled in response, mocking his efforts. Suddenly, he saw a flash of movement up ahead. A pale hand appeared and then disappeared beneath the snow. Heart pounding, Jack sprinted forward, adrenaline fueling his desperate need to reach the boy. "I'm coming." Panic clawed at him. He stumbled several feet before coming to a sudden halt. There he was, a boy, approximately Leo's age, trapped beneath a blanket of snow. Jack fell to his knees, digging through the icy powder, unease gripping him. "Buddy, it's okay. I've got you." He pulled at the heavy snow, each handful feeling like a fight against a wall of resistance. The boy's eyes widened in startled fear, but Jack felt something shift. The boy's spirit seemed to awaken as he emerged from the cold grip. With one final yank, Jack freed him, lifting him up and into his arms. "You're safe now. Let us get back to the others." But as they turned around, the storm changed again. The snow, once an obstacle, turned almost alive, blurring the way back, swirling tighter around them. Jack felt a wave of despair sweep over him. As if responding to his inner turmoil, a sudden burst of color exploded through the haze. He looked, a familiar flash, darting past them, leaving a trail that glimmered like hope cutting through despair. Was it a mirage? Or some miraculous sign guiding them away from danger? "Follow me!" Jack shouted, urgency fueling his every step and instinct guiding him toward the flickering glow. They ran, Jack keeping the boy secure in his arms as they plunged deeper into the heart of the storm. The shapes, the noises, the sensation of time itself unraveling, what awaited them beyond the storm's edge? Was this the guidance they needed, or something far more perilous? As the light flickered in and out of view, Jack pressed on, unsure of what lay ahead, but desperate to find out. Jack pushed through the chilling wind, the weight of the boy's small frame solid in his arms. They ran toward the elusive light, a beacon breaking through the chaos. Each stride felt like a small victory, a rebellion against the storm. With every step, he could feel the boy's breaths, quick and shallow, vibrating against his chest, fueling Jack's determination. "Hang on. Just a little further," Jack shouted, although he wasn't sure the boy could hear over the howling gusts. He focused solely on the light, trying to latch on to the sense of hope it brought, but then it flickered, a moment of vulnerability amidst the gale. The shifting snow danced tauntingly around them, making every footfall treacherous. Jack's heart raced. Panic threatened to claw at his resolve, but he clung to the boy like a lifeline. "We are going to make it," he murmured, even if it was just as much for himself. As they neared the glowing light, Jack spotted a structure through the fray, a cabin, its outline stark against the swirling storm. "There." He veered, trusting the glow was not some cruel trick. He dashed toward it, adrenaline surging. The door, partially ajar, creaked as Jack kicked it open. The warmth rushed out to meet them like a comforting hug. He stumbled inside, dragging the boy with him, and let the door slam shut behind them. The sounds of the storm faded, replaced by the crackling of a fire and the soft shuffling of bodies. People, 3 adults and a cluster of children, turned to face the new arrivals, eyes wide with a mix of surprise and concern. Jack quickly set the boy down, glancing back outside, half expecting the storm to follow. Tessa rushed in, her expression shifting to relief upon spotting them. "Jack! You found him." She hurried forward, easing the boy's shoulder gently. "Are you okay, buddy?" The boy, shivering, nodded, his eyes wide in awe. He clung to Jack's pant leg, seeking solace. "Who are these people?" a tall woman asked, taking a step closer, her voice calm but firm. "You came from the storm?" "Yeah," Jack answered, trying to catch his breath. "That little light, it led us here." "Must be the crystals," another man interjected. "The locals say they can guide lost souls back." "Crystals?" Jack was confused. "You mean back at the lodge?" "Not just any crystals." The man grinned, revealing a gap-toothed smile. "The ones buried under the old mines. They sparkle in storms, almost like they know who needs to be saved. That's how we found this place." Jack felt a mix of disbelief and hope. A flicker of magic in the snow. The girl? He suddenly remembered, panic racing back like a shadow. "We need to go back for her." Tessa's eyes met his, a silent understanding passing between them. "I'll go," she said, determination etched on her face. "You stay with the kids." "Are you sure?" Jack knew Tessa was brave, but the storm still raged outside. "Trust me." "I'll be careful," she assured him, already positioning herself at the door. Before he could respond, she disappeared into the dark, leaving Jack with the boy clinging to his side and echoes of the wild outside haunting the walls. "Can we really be safe here?" His voice wavered, looking around at the strangers. "Yeah," the woman replied softly, kneeling down to his level. "You're safe now. Just sit tight and wait for your sister." But as Jack listened, the wind howled unanswered outside, and with each passing moment, doubt began to creep in. Was Tessa okay? Would the light guide her? The question spun in his mind like the snow outside, the warmth of the cabin feeling increasingly fragile. As the door creaked open slightly once more, revealing a shadow against the swirling chaos, Jack held his breath. Was it Tessa returning, or would the storm claim another soul? Tessa burst through the door, breathless and wild-eyed, her hair tousled by the storm. Relief flooded Jack's heart, but that relief wavered when he saw her face. "She's okay," Tessa panted, her voice hoarse but steady. "I found her. She was hiding behind a tree. We need to get everyone inside." Just as she spoke, the little girl slipped through the doorway, her snow-smudged cheek streaked with tears that glistened like diamonds in the dim light. "My brother!" she cried, running to Jack, her voice a desperate plea. Jack knelt to gather her in, wrapping her in a warm embrace. "You're safe now. You're okay," he soothed, hoping to assuage the fear still lingering in her eyes. Tessa stepped forward, gently placing a reassuring hand on the girl's shoulder. "You did so well. Your brother is fine," she said, her voice a calm anchor amidst the chaos. Jack glanced at the small crowd around him. The adults were assessing the situation, griping the children and offering blankets, and for the first time in what felt like years, Jack felt an undeniable sense of belonging wash over him. As the moments passed, laughter began to bubble up. The warmth of the fire crackling nearby intertwined with the scent of cocoa simmering over the flame. It soothed his soul and sparked a newfound clarity. This was more than survival. This was connection. Jack. The older boy he had rescued earlier bounded toward him, his eyes brightening with excitement. "A girl from my class, she can't make it to the school because of the snow. We need to help." "Then let us help," Jack exclaimed, buoyed by the energy of those around him. "If we can gather supplies, food, learning materials, we can set up a space in here while the storm passes." A murmur of agreement rippled through the cabin. The adults nodded, rallying to the cause, while children scurried to find materials. Just then, the door creaked open again, the howling storm beckoning. Jack squared his shoulders, adrenaline surging, but instead of fear, he felt hope ignite like a small flame. Within the hour, thanks to determined teamwork, they turned the cabin into a makeshift classroom. Children giggled, flipping through scavenged books, tossing around games, sharing stories of their lives. Ideas flowed freely, what they needed, what they dreamed of. "Jack, can we plant flowers in our garden?" Mia asked, bouncing on her toes, sparkling with excitement. "Absolutely," Jack replied, beaming at her enthusiasm. "We'll make a garden of dreams right outside, just like you imagined." He felt the pulse of the community beating within him, vibrant and alive. The children's laughter rang out, echoing against the stark stillness of the storm outside. Together, they were crafting something beautiful, a safety net forged by resilience and dreams. As the storm lost its fury outside, a sense of peace enveloped the cabin. Jack caught Tessa's gaze from across the room, and she winked, her faith illuminating the space surrounding them. In that moment, Jack's past and present interconnected like strands of a tapestry, reminders of where he came from melding into what he could give back. He understood now that success wasn't just about wealth, it was about lifting each other up, helping others thrive. "Together, we'll reclaim our community," he vowed, his voice steadier than it had ever been. Those words soaked into the hearts around him, bursting forth like bursts of sunshine breaking through clouds. The conversation soared. Plans unfolded, ideas exchanged, someone would write letters, others would network for support, and the sense of hope blossomed. Even as the storm waned outside, within them, it felt like springtime, a spring bursting forth after a long, cold winter. Jack's heart swelled with purpose, enveloped in the warmth of laughter and hope. No longer was he a man torn between two worlds, he was part of something bigger, something beautiful, and as he looked around the room, he saw the spirit of the twins shining bright, their dreams intertwined with the community's aspirations, and all the doubts he had carried dissolved into the laughter a little girl shared with her brother. This was the start of a new life, one where he would fight alongside them, hand in hand, planting seeds for futures shining with promise. "Let us find a way to make this not just about today, but for tomorrow," Jack declared, and the room erupted in applause, each clap a promise binding them together. If that storm had taught him anything, it was that the power of a community, bound by love and shared dreams, could cut through the fiercest of storms. Now, dear friends, this is where I need your help. You need to subscribe now to never miss out on these inspiring stories that touch the heart and uplift the soul. This is the moment to show your support for our community. Please, leave a like right now if this story made you feel, and comment down below sharing how you resonated with Jack's journey. And don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Let us spread the love and joy together.